What's up, and welcome to the Nothing But Net Worth podcast, where we have conversations with prominent coaches, athletic directors, and NIL athletes discussing critical topics around financial literacy, entrepreneurship, and much, much more. My name is Hassan Thomas, former student athlete and current promoter of all things financial wellness. And today, we have NIL athlete and women's soccer star at West Virginia University, Miss Aria Bilal. How are you? How are you, superstar?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm blessed. Happy we was able to lock in and meet at the BSA Summit. But now we're here on Nothing But Net Worth. And how we like to normally get started is we have a segment called the Financial Coin Toss.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you a few either or questions just to see where your head's at, all right?
Okay. Ooh, okay.
All right, bet. We're here talking about student athletes, how y'all have the ability and the opportunity now to make money from your name, from your image, and from your likeness. So in your opinion, do you think it's more important for how much money that you make? Or is it more important for these student athletes like yourself? Is it more important for the amount of money that you keep?
I think probably keep, just because, especially for a women's soccer team, we don't benefit tremendously from NIL. So the little money that you do make, you have to know how to keep it.
Got you. Like, and that's for student athletes. That's for young folks in general. You know, we really won't start making a big bag. Like our earning potential won't get entirely huge until we're 27, 28, 29, 30, when we have so much experience. So if we can keep that, invest it, flip it, now we're really, making a big deal. So I think that's great how you mentioned that, because even when we're talking about student athletes, every athlete has that turning point moment. And diving into your story a little bit, I want to go back to your defining moment in high school where you realized, okay, I can really play at the next level. What was that moment for you?
Okay, that's a good question. My high school experience was a little different. So, PG County is known for to be the sports capital of the world, in my opinion. But I've read some articles about it. I've read some articles about it.
Maryland.
Listen. PG County, that's PG County, Maryland. Yeah. But that's where Kevin Durant's from. We are known to grow athletes. So I went to the number one team in the nation for soccer in high school.
Okay.
It was a boarding school called McDonough in Owings Mills, Maryland. You said I gotta pop my stuff, so you know.
You do.
But
Go ahead.
so yeah, that's where I went from 8th grade to 11th grade, and then so I always kind of knew that was kind of the standard going to that school. You're going to play at the next level. And then COVID hit. I went back home because I was it was a boarding school.
Yeah.
So I went back home for COVID and I graduated from a public school. But I committed to West Virginia in 10th, 11th grade, going through 11th grade. So I kind of knew, I was I picked West Virginia. It was also the standard to go pro right after that. So I think from an early age, I kind of knew that was the goal for me. Yeah, so I kind of knew then.
You said you were committed to West Virginia in 10th grade, right?
It was either the summer 10th grade going into 11th, because I know they just made the rules, so it might have been the beginning of 11th grade year.
Okay, beginning of 11th grade year, you were committed to West Virginia. What was their recruiting process like for you? Was there other schools in the running? Kind of talk about what made you choose West Virginia.
Okay.
Kind of talk about that.
So my last three were Auburn, Syracuse, and then West Virginia. And I thought about location wise and being close to family. Syracuse, yes, it's New York, but it was very far away from Maryland. I had family in Georgia, so that's close to Auburn. So those were just location wise. But then I was I want to be pushed. Syracuse was under the rebuilding phase. So it was going to be I was going to go in there. I'll be able to start, maybe possibly be the star. And I didn't see much development.
Yeah.
But from West Virginia, I was wow, I'm going to have to work for, my spot. I'm surrounded by amazing people. And then they had an all-female staff at the time. So I was wow, successful women. So honestly, and they just made my family feel so much a part of things. And so that was the biggest factor. So here I am.
So is that what you would tell the younger folks listening kind of think about, one, do you want to play immediately compared to sitting a little bit and kind of working your way up and developing? Like, what other aspects would you advise, like the younger Ari or the younger, people in your position looking to go to these schools, is getting recruited? What kind of game would you give them?
So I would ask them a few questions before I gave my advice. I would say, how serious are you about your sport? And what
Mm-hmm.
do you see your future being within your sport? And at that age, it could be a little tricky to really know what you want because it can
Yeah,
change based off your experience. But I would definitely say, make sure you like the school. This is what I would tell myself: make sure you like the school,
for sure.
even if you got hurt or regardless of the success of the team. Because I came to West
Mm,
Virginia thinking, like, oh, we always go to the NCAA tournament, because that was a big factor for me. I always wanted to play in the NCAA tournament. My
for
freshman
sure.
year, we unfortunately did not do that. We had a short season, and then I'm like, well, dang, what do I do now? Like, soccer's over and I'm here
Mm-hmm.
out in West Virginia. What do I do? So that would be like a huge thing. It's like, make sure you
Yeah.
like your surroundings. And then also, besides sports, what does the school have to offer? Like, I know everyone says that, and people are like, I'm always going to play these sports. Like, I'm in love with the game. But then I realized I wanted to get into Greek life.
Mm,
And it's like, oh my God, well, I go to West Virginia. But I made the best of it. But that's something I would tell myself too, because if that was super important to the person, then that top school might not be it. You might need to go down a few steps where you can get everything that you want out of the school.
for
So
sure.
that's the biggest advice that I would probably say.
That's real good game. If your sport doesn't work out, or if your team is not good, what other things, what other resources, what other, activities can you get into at your school that can kind of
Mm-hmm.
build you up for your next space? That's super cool. So as your career started to progress, you started, making big plays, you winning games for WVU. So how did that, or like, did that lead to, like NIL? Did, like, how did, because I saw even on your social media that, you're a gamer girly. You know what I mean? You got
Mm-hmm.
the games going. So how, talk about like your thoughts on NIL and how that kind of plays a role in soccer.
Um, NIL for us is very like sporadic. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's not like you could make a living off of your NIL deals, because you never know when they're gonna come.
Gotcha.
And they're just like, I don't know. It's very low for us. Like, you see like football getting all this stuff. So our football team they have their record, but and they get all these NIL deals, but then we win the Big 12, and it's just like, okay, it's the same. It's like, so I wish NIL was based off a little bit more of like a success. Like, I understand like viewership and all that stuff, but like, I think we should put a little more emphasis on like successful teams, because it's like,
Mm-hmm.
it's also like an incentive to winning. So,
For sure.
but our NIL deals. So we have this like trust, Country Roads Trust, and they like will hit you with a couple deals sometimes. I think my biggest deal was with the bank. It's
Hmm.
called Bank United, and that might have came after our Big 12 win. So I don't know if that had a little bit more to do with it, but that was
Oh
definitely my
yeah,
biggest
you
one.
know you
So
know it did. Like you said, it's
yeah.
a little incentive for winning, and when the playoffs comes and y'all are in playoffs and y'all winning the conference, all the eyes
Hmm.
are on y'all. So it makes sense for these brands to reach out because y'all are popping. So
Right,
that so
right.
that makes a lot of sense. So have the companies that have reached out, is it more of like local brands,
Hmm.
or has it been like the national brands, that have reached out? What has it been
Hmm.
more for y'all?
More local. I don't think anyone on my team has like a national brand. And honestly, we do the work. Like, and what I learned from the summit too is like, you get what you put out. Like, if I reach
Oh
out to this
yeah.
company, then maybe I'll do that. So I feel like a lot of us, we don't have like a lot of like basically intelligence about NIL. Like, I don't think people know that you can reach out and then they could possibly say something back.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I think we need a little bit more education about NIL as a team. But
Yeah,
like me, I mean, I could take that upon myself to teach my teammates that they can do those things. But yeah,
for
we definitely
sure.
have to reach out to the companies.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And that's why I think I was telling my man Rob, I was like, bro, maybe not on the same level, but I've been through everything that y'all are going through when it comes to NIL, reaching out to the brands, going to conferences, networking, following up with people, sending emails, sending 100 emails just to get 5 responses.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like all those things you have to do as an entrepreneur. And especially when I graduated college, I had to do all those things because nobody knew who I was. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? So and then with you having the brand awareness of your personal brand from you playing and winning the Big Ten championship, or was it Big 12 or Big 10?
Mm-hmm. Big 12.
Big Winning the Big 12 championship. Now your face is on the poster, your face is on the social media post. So people are seeing that. So they kind of understand who you are. So like what would you say? Because as I mentioned earlier, going through your social media, we see that you're a gamer girly, you got your gamer tags and everything. So like what led to you creating that content and making a brand deal with the gaming company? Kind of talk about that.
So I've played video games my whole life, but
Hmm.
sports, like I play Madden, 2K, and FIFA.
Yeah.
My
Those some
brother and
good
my
ones. Those
dad,
some good
yeah,
ones.
have been super competitive with them. And honestly, I will say the summit. Like when I went to the summit, I realized that people want to get to know you outside of your sport. And I
Hmm.
feel like I haven't created like who I am on my Instagram yet. Like it's
Hmm.
like, okay, she's cute, she, goes to the beach, she plays soccer, whatever. But I feel like streaming is something that I could really tap into, and it's like hot right now.
Got you.
And like guys love talking mess, and like I love talking mess with guys on the game because I'm actually good. So I'm like,
Yeah.
dang, like let me just try to cross these together somehow,
Hmm.
and let's do it. So it honestly was a blessing because they messaged me and I was like, oh, for sure, I'm gonna get it, get it popping. So I
Yeah.
had a PS4 the day I got the deal, and the next day I went to buy a
Wait, they
PS5.
gave you the PS4?
No, 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 no. I had it. I had a PS4. But I
Hmm.
was like, if I really want to get serious about this streaming, you know what? I'm gonna invest in myself. I went to go buy a PS5 from a pawn shop, and
Okay.
and then the next day I'm like, y'all can add me now. Like, let's go, let's get it.
Hmm.
So that's kind of how that happened.
Wow. So just your authentic love for games kind of led you into that partnership. How has that partnership been? Do you see yourself growing with that company? Like where do you see yourself taking? Are you on Twitch? Like give us
Hmm.
the whole gaming industry from your standpoint. Like what does that
Okay.
look like?
So to be honest, so our deals, the way we get them is not so. I wouldn't use the word deals. It's just like a one time thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I post the content. It just has to be up for 365 days, and they paid me the sum that they paid me, and that's it.
Gotcha.
There's no like, I don't think there's any like growing from that. There's only one company that I did something with twice, which was an energy drink company.
Okay.
Because it was a small thing, but like this is just pretty much done. But now people know that I am on the game,
Mm-hmm.
so once I get like, I had a monitor, but I didn't like it, so I sold it.
Yeah.
And once I get the whole setup, it's up and popping. But it'll be a minute. But right
So is
now, I
that
have
going?
people adding me. I'll play people
Mm-hmm.
online. So, you know.
So is that going? Is like when you do get the whole monitor, you get the whole setup going. Is that going to be like Twitch? Is that going to be like? Are you going to go that lane, or you already doing
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, so I set up my Twitch. I got all the like I got Streamlabs, all that stuff to like really
Mm-hmm.
I have to learn. So I've been on YouTube, but I think I want to do a little bit of like TikTok. I have a little bit of a growing on TikTok, and I've seen how people
Yeah.
like split their screens and like they're on TikTok live, and I'm like, I could do that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so something like that.
No, that's cool. That's cool. So like and I think what's so beautiful about it, you kind of found your niche within a niche. So your niche already is NIL athlete, women's soccer player, but now you're going even deeper, women's soccer player who now games and can beat all
Yeah.
y'all in games and go talk that talk with you
Yeah.
too. So I think that's really cool. So like what guidance or what tips or advice could you give other folks who are looking to create authentic content for brands, for companies, for their audience? Like what advice could you give for that authentic content?
I think I would say to learn and to listen, because if
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't around people who I was learning from and like I was really taking in that information, I would have never known to
Mm-hmm.
even go that route or even to where to begin. So
Gotcha.
definitely research and learning, and then just being who you are, because I know like, well, now I feel like we're at the age where people aren't really going to judge you. They're going to be like, oh, you're doing your thing. You know what I mean? So
For
it's
sure.
kind of different to really tap into who you are and really express that. So honestly, just being yourself and finding what you like to do.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that even goes back to what we talked about earlier, how you say even in sports, you when you were younger, you tried a lot of different things. I mean, we're still super young, so you got to try different things as an adult now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Trying gaming, trying music, trying all these different things, seeing what naturally comes good to you and what naturally comes easy to you, and then double down on that. If you post something and you see it gets a lot of likes, a lot of views, keep going. You know, post
Mm-hmm.
around that certain topic again because obviously people like it, people are interacting with it, and if people are liking it, that means brands will want to do deals with you because they see that people are
Right.
interacting with your content. So
Mm-hmm.
I think you spot on with that. So I think you dropped a lot of good gems here today for the young folks listening. I just want to know, you know, what's next for Miss Aria Bilal? Give us what's next for you. Big senior season coming up. Talk to us.
Hmm. Like, wait. Like, you mean what's coming up soccer wise or outside of soccer?
Anything, anything you want to share with us, just let us know what's next for you.
Man, what's next? I wish I knew what was next, honestly, but
Mm-hmm.
a great senior year, a
Yes.
great senior year, Big 12 title. I'm speaking into
Mm-hmm.
existence.
Yeah.
Then graduating, and I hope to in the next 4 years become an NBA agent.
Okay. You will. We're gonna speak it. We speaking everything. You
Okay,
will.
I will, I will.
Come on. Come
Yeah.
on. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for joining the Nothing But Net Worth podcast. If you have any final takeaways for our listeners, go ahead and also let them know where to reach you. Throw in your social media handles, your Twitch tag and everything so they can play you. Go ahead.
Okay, yes, you guys can find me on all platforms at Aria Iman, PlayStation 5, Jackrabbit 8, and I mean, you don't want this work in Madden or 2K, but you could try your hand. But thank you so much for having me.
That's a bet. That's a bet. Do you have any final takeaways, any final advice that you would like to leave the listeners?
Be you.
Straight like that. Straight like that. Just be
Yes.
you. Be authentic. Try a lot of different things as we talked about. Whatever really works, double down on it. Put your passion, put your energy, put your time into it. Because it definitely is a grind. It won't happen easy. So, like I said, take some of these small gems that Aria dropped here today. And I promise you, over time, there will be large results. So, again, thank you so much. And for all of our listeners, if you're looking to be educated, motivated, and inspired to not only stay in the game, but to change it, the Nothing But Net Worth podcast is for you. See y'all
Yes,
next week.
sir.